do it, host.
They're going to say ho.
Ho. You do it, ho.
Well, see, we just got schooled.
Yeah.
We love it. We love it.
Can you hear, is my fan, is that back? You're not hearing that, are you? Is it not like?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Because
No,
it's
you're
hot
good.
here. It's gonna be like 75 today. I don't know what that means in Canadian temperatures, but
Like
Dal's in a
20.
bikini at 75 degrees.
my buddy explained how Fahrenheit is actually the superior system. And I was like, I don't understand because, metric seems better in all ways. And he's like, no, think about it. If it's 75 degrees, it's probably like 75% hot. If it's 100 degrees, it's 100% hot. I was like,
Makes sense.
that's actually fucking brilliant.
That's a great way to think about it. And actually makes absolute sense. That's
you guys are
amazing.
superior. No.
Take it to the Canadian to say we're not superior and take offense.
Whatever.
Just because you have free health care.
You freedom haters.
We talk about it all the time. I'm like, them Canadians probably looking at us US people like, what is happening over there?
I mean, my favorite quote when I see like on Reddit and stuff when Canadians are like, yeah, well, Europeans are like, what's it like there? Like, it's basically like we're living above a meth lab.
I mean, sounds about accurate. We're just all taking it day by day, seeing what happens.
I mean, we do have a lot of benefits. It's not
But you also have like 12 hours of dark and cold for like 9.5 months. So
There's a cost benefit to all of it.
yeah, like I see all the great things, but I'm like, I was there in October, and I'm like,
yeah,
there's no way. I mean, I want to move to Amsterdam, but that's why I can't do it. Is because it's like we're gonna go in a couple weeks. It's gonna be like, my buddy is in London. London and Amsterdam are kind of the same, and he was posting his story yesterday. He said, I was going to make some coffee, but it's dark out. And so I realized, if it's dark, it's past 4:00. So I can't have coffee. And I was like, dude, dark at 4:00? Like, no, like.
I would be in the biggest depressive state ever because
but it doesn't even get light early. Like here it gets dark at 6 or so, 6:30, but it's sunny at like 6 a.m. So
yeah,
cool. I can deal with that.
It's 8 in the morning. It's dark right now.
That's insane. Yeah. Like I remember, I had never experienced that really. I remember the first time I went to Paris to visit my wife. She was already there, and I thought like I thought everything was broken. My phone had died. It was a whole mess. But I get there and it's like pitch black, and I'm like, I thought my flight got here at like 9:30 in the morning. Like, what's going on? Or 9 o'clock in the morning? What's happening? And I get out and I get in a car. It's like 9 o'clock. It's rush hour, and it's pitch black. It was like December. I was like, this is messed up. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I know. I walk out of work at 5 o'clock and I'm depressed because it's dark now. And usually like in the summertime, it's still bright. And I'm like, okay, cool. We still got tons of things to do. It's still light outside. Now it's like.
I'm not going to lie. I enjoy it. I don't have the whole mood disorder thing. I like it when it's dark, cold.
Oh, dude, I'm a total sundowner. I've come to that conclusion. I've absolutely come to that conclusion. I start I'm thriving in the sun. I'm like a plant, and then the sun comes down, and I'm a fucking hag.
Honestly, my happiness quotient went up so much when I moved down south because like in March, Dean will send me like a screenshot of his, thermometer, and it's like where Fahrenheit and in Celsius meet because it's so low. It's like 45 below or whatever. And I'm like, I send a picture of me like shirtless, like hanging out, getting sun.
Still at the beach.
Yeah, I'm like, that sucks.
I know, because
there's actual studies on that, isn't there? In regards to like the sun and people's moods.
Well, yeah. Also, like if you live above Virginia, you're vitamin D deficient. Pretty much.
Oh, I'm sure I am. Yeah.
Oh, everybody. I mean, everybody in Canada is.
Everybody
if you're not supplementing, yeah. But like down here, you can actually get it. Like if you get out in the sun and like you can maintain at least down here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I am not on top of like supplementing that. I know I need to be. We'll get there one day.
Maybe you should. One. Maybe it'll flip your mood a little bit, Dal. Maybe you'll be a little bit more
tolerable. I'm always like this.
You really are. I'm usually the one that's like, okay, I gotta find my sunshine.
Yeah, the dour mood.
Yes, yes. Okay,
All right, well, I
well,
guess I better intro this, right?
yes, let's do it.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Cycle, Redefining Weight Loss, Health, and Mom Life. And today we have another guest on with us. We have the Jedi Mind Master, Mr. Jeb Stuart Johnston, the GOAT of all things emotional regulation. Always probably a topic of our conversation because we're always talking about how hard Dal and I have had to work to regulate ourselves and still continue to regulate ourselves. So here he is, y'all.
So yeah,
up,
welcome. Guys? Yeah. So Jeb, where do we start? Emotional regulation. How can you define that, describe that in layman terms?
I mean, really, it's yeah. I mean, really, emotional regulation is like I think when people think of it, they're like, oh, this is like I'm going to control my emotions, but really, it's in that terminology of regulation. It's like one of the things we talk about, Dal. Obviously, you and I have talked about quite a bit. Is like people get upset with their initial reaction to things, right? So, like, let's say someone cuts you off in traffic, you get pissed off. And then you're like, oh, well, I shouldn't have gotten pissed off at that. That's ridiculous. Like, it's, whatever. That's not a big deal. And then you beat yourself up over that. But the reality is that your reaction is not up to you. And we can go into my whole weird thoughts on free will and neuroscience and all that stuff. But it's that these things are automatic and they're built on prior information. And what we think is happening, that we're making these conscious choices are really very rarely conscious. They're not predetermined per se, but there's like certain pathways that we are going to choose that are not actually choice. They're almost like happening in our brain before we do them. So that reaction is not your fault. There's nothing to that. Now, the difference is after that, we want to figure out how to respond. And so emotional regulation is really just about starting to learn to respond to stimulus in a way that's beneficial. And I hesitate to use the term like using like logic, because it kind of creates this like moral judgment against emotion. But what we do is we take a pause to at least sit and say like, okay, these are feelings. My feelings are valid. My emotions are valid in their impetus and where they come from. However, they are just emotions, and all emotions are is basically old data that is being processed at a quick time, because biologically we don't have time to logically think about serious situations. And what I say by that is, like, if you're staring down the mouth of a saber-toothed tiger, you don't have time to sit there and be like, what do big teeth mean? Are those good or bad? Should we be? No, it's like you go fucking run. Fucking run or fight. Like, you got the choice. And so, that's that kind of biological impetus. So that's what emotions are. So they're valid in where they exist. But in our modern society, where our threats are mostly existential, future, they're not life-threatening generally, our bodies still interpret it like that. And so what we have to do is we have to understand those emotions are there, and we can let them be, and we can let them go. And then we can look at things from a different standpoint. And so that regulation is learning to sit with that. And actually, even Ryan Holiday had a post that I reshared the other day, because I really liked what he said about it, because Stoicism has kind of been co-opted by people. It's like, oh, you just don't feel anything. It's like, no, that's not at all what it is. It's that you feel the thing, and then you say, my responsibility in this situation is how I respond. And I think so many of us think we're going to control other people's emotions, or like this. The only thing we can really control is how we respond to that situation. And if we can do so in a way that is antithetical to our initial reaction that we don't like, then we've kind of started to achieve some ability to regulate those emotions.
Yeah.
Was that simple, or was that way more complicated? I don't know.
No, that was simple.
It is, because I'm thinking, what's going through my head is, what if, people they really don't even know about emotional regulation. So when people are stuck in this cycle, like, yes, we need that self-awareness, but how do we even get there? Like, I didn't know this. I didn't know. And we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. For me, it was because of the parenting. I shifted in how I was parenting. and had to learn what emotional regulation was through that. And indirectly and unintentionally, I started practicing, some of the grounding techniques that we talk about, like breathing, just leaving for 5 minutes, saying, "Hey, I'll be right back. Let me deal with my shit," and not reacting. And really, it was like, well, what is it about you? What's triggering you? It's not your kids. So what is it about you? And so that's what helped me. And obviously now, of course, I have a bias, but yeah, I see it. Like, I see that it extends to everything, all aspects of our life, just like you described, like the car example, being in your vehicle.
Yeah.
And so, in the fitness space, Jeb, like, we don't see this. This is missing. And so let's kind of tie it back to that, and let's talk a little bit about that. So when people are on social media and they're seeing all this shit and they're seeing all these messages, and none of it takes into account nervous system regulation,
or past history, or past traumas, or what basically they were imprinted with growing up,
Yes.
me, because I, much like you, Dal, kind of stumbled upon learning how to emotionally regulate, because I had to understand, like, hey, these patterns are not healthy. These patterns are not good for my family or my children. Like, what's going on here? What is it about me?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, let's take culturally, for an example. Both of you all come from obviously, different familial cultures than like kind of, typical, Midwest white bread American people. My family's, yeah. But, and so in a similar sense, I come from a Scottish family. So, Scots, we do not have emotions. That is a rule. You do not share them. That's for damn sure. And so growing up, it was the way that you dealt with emotions was you bottled them down and then erupted in a fit of drunken anger. That's pretty much how we were taught. And so, and obviously in Asian culture, a ton of like, no, you just, don't upset the balance, keep everything good. And part of that is a natural familial instinct. Carmie, you said something about trauma. So as we move, so emotional regulation is obviously more how people would describe it in behavioral health. And one of the things that I lean pretty heavily into to understand it is this polyvagal theory, which is understanding the nervous system. And Carmie, you had mentioned trauma. So, a big understanding of someone's autonomic nervous system state will be informed by past trauma. So you can kind of see someone like who has dysautonomia, right? And, we can use tools now to see this, like HRV, heart rate, et cetera. And those people that have a past series of certain trauma are going to have a higher likelihood of this dysautonomia. And what that is, it was just a nervous system reaction to chaos in your life. Is you had to be on high alert. I talk about people who grew up in a chaotic household, probably really like chaos. I mean, drop me into the middle of the most terrifying experience you've ever seen, and I feel right at home. Put me in a place where it's all calm. I mean, I've gotten better, but like when it's calm, all I'm doing is scanning the room for threat. And so one of the things I had to learn was I have to now scan for positives, for good, for things that make me feel calm and comfortable. And no one ever taught us that. Now, interestingly enough, I have come to this belief that the reason we have to like develop all these things like polyvagal theory and all these scientific methods is we just forgot all the things that we did naturally as humans. One of the things that kind of hit me as I was talking to my therapist, and she was talking about how her son was like, you know what, I just need a moment. I need to go breathe. And she's like, we didn't teach him that. Like he's run off. And I was thinking about timeout that we do with kids, right? And in its inception, the idea of timeout is brilliant. You're going to need to go take a break and you get to separate and sit and breathe. But what do? We take it as like, no, I'm going to isolate you, put you in the corner and make you feel like a social pariah. So now that regulation part has become a sense of, oh, this is punishment. And so I think we just kind of naturally get conditioned to that over time. And then we have to start to realize that this isn't even like a moral it's not like you're emotionally something wrong with you. It's actually a biological aspect. And so as you start to recognize that, it removes the guilt and shame. And you're like, oh, of course this is how I'm reacting, because that's what my body is doing to take me to a place of safety. The thing is now I don't need that safety. I'm an adult. I have all these tools, but we're still kind of operating I always say most of our shit's probably formed between like 8 and 13. Like probably is where it is. And so we kind of, and again, if you want to go back into therapist and talk about that stuff, cool. But like what I always say is I work with people on today and tomorrow. Like your yesterday is for you and your therapist. I can listen, but I can't help you with that. It's outside of my scope and it's just not in my purview and not in my interest really. And so what we can do is work on today. And so how do we do that? As we start to work on trying to do things like grounding, look for safety, practice these emotional regulation tools, these nervous system regulation tools, and start to try to be in a place of like playful, calm excitement. And even that even extrapolates down to sports. When I coach jujitsu, one of the things I constantly hammer on them is like breathe and play. If you are playing, you are going to be a much higher likelihood of learning. The best kids in my jujitsu and the MMA school, like these kids are like 17, they just learn. You never see them get mad. You're just seeing them like some guy will smack him in the head. Someone will do something. I mean, someone will kick him in the face and they're like, oh, okay, we're fine. And those guys learn and get better and better and better. The guys who are just like all the time trying to win, crushing, they might be great athletes. They might be good, but they're going to struggle in learning things because their brain is in the place of being wired to not accept new stimuli because that new stimuli is actually threatening to the system. And so you can see it like extrapolate into all these different areas. And that's why I like sports. I really do. I really think that most adults should play a sport. I think that's one of the things that we get away from. And I go to Europe and like my wife's, the owner of my wife's company, his wife, she's like the head designer, but she's like this tiny little, cute little Dutch woman. And she plays field hockey twice a week. All of our European friends, like they maybe don't really lift weights. They're not like huge gym people, per se, but they all play a sport and they all walk a ton and people tend to be healthier, happier, and more content there. And there's a lot of social safety
because they're active, they're experiencing life. That absolutely, yes, it does make sense because here in the States, especially, it's like there is this whole thing about just a sedentary lifestyle. Like the cool thing to do is to Netflix and chill. Whereas
and even if you're not sedentary, all you do, it's like, I'm going to go to the gym to try and improve the way I look so that people will accept me more. So I'll feel better about myself, which I think over time can transform into being a healthy thing. But a lot of times people are in the gym for this kind of like, I just have to check this box and do this thing. Whereas when you engage in sport, it becomes play and it becomes communal and it becomes purposeful. And then if you go to the gym to lift, you're supporting this activity that is really, and again, sports is kind of a microcosm of life. There's these little challenges. You're going to lose a lot. And it's okay because it's all practice. Like we think that we're like trying to be world champions at like eating well for the day. And it's like, no, you're just practicing. Like you're going to screw up. You're going to screw up over and over again. And that's the whole point.
That's a big thing though, like practice. And that's something like I learned from you, just, in your mentorship and just all the content that you put out, even your podcast, like there's just so much to learn and it really does. It just comes down to practicing and showing up day in, day out. And it doesn't matter what that looks like.
Yeah. Right? I mean, my podcast is definitely getting weird just because it's just a pet project for me to like try and implicate.
I kind of like it though.
Yeah, no, it's really just selfish. I explore these topics, if anyone listens to it or wants to. It's I love philosophy, I love religion, I love all these kind of esoteric things, and I like to try to connect these philosophical underpinnings to fitness, and so just like these kind of different ideas, but it's for me, it's fun to take this kind of topical thing of fitness, nutrition, and health and wellness and tie it into this deeper meaning. Because I mean, even if you go back as far as Socrates, he was very big into physicality of doing things. And one of the things I believe it was either Socrates, might have been Plato. I don't really remember who, but one of the things they said was you need to make the things that are vitally important to you automatic so that you don't have to think about them. And he was basically talking about like habit formation 4,000 years ago, and we still haven't really gotten it. But there's this physicality to it, and the great philosophers in history often had this. They played a sport or they did some kind of activity, because I mean, Darwin would work for 2 1.5 hour blocks a day and then 1 other hour. The rest of the day he spent just walking this trail, and that's where he did all of his thinking. And I think this idea that we've become more intellectualized, more academic, yet we're more sedentary, is actually feeding the problem, is because we're so caught into all this thinking and thinking and thinking, which is important, and self-reflection. But at the end of the day, if we don't do stuff, it's all useless. It doesn't matter. So that my aside about the podcast is that, so I try to I really want to try to figure out a way personally of how to integrate all of this self-reflection, all this internal stuff with actual action, because that, at the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Because
that's where a lot of people are struggling, is they know they need to do the things they need to know. They know that they need to do X, Y, Z, but they just don't know how to actually physically take
and
action
they want
and
to.
start.
Yeah, they want to do it.
And they want to, but I mean, let's go back to, again, I'm going to keep bringing this, circling back to what we're exposed to and what's so prevalent in the industry, and how it really doesn't take into account the how, in terms, it's very technical.
It's very black and white, though. You and I talk about this very much, and you and I have also talked yesterday about how we were both guilty of it when we were first coming in, of being very black and white, and now us coming into our own and understanding our own nuances within ourselves and our clients, that it is not black and white, and you can't speak in absolutes, especially in this health and wellness space and in life in general. Nothing is black and white. Everything is, it depends, and context matters.
Unfortunately, we live in an environment where division, black and white, absolutism is what sells.
It's overall, it's overall.
I mean, it is the algorithm is based on outrage. or on you're right. It's about trying to, and so if you deal in context and nuance, I mean, trust me, my social media sucks because I don't do it. I don't do it, and it's and even when I'm trying to be divisive, I'm oh, this one's going to fire people up. No one gets fired up because I always put some caveat in there that's oh, well, if you do this. So it's
because you didn't speak in an absolute, Jeb.
Yeah,
you put a but in there.
Yeah, and also I kind of joke with my friends because they're your opinion. I'm kind of, but I don't really ever actually opine on my own opinions. I generally spend most of my life just pointing out the inconsistencies and the hypocrisy of what other people say and think. A lot of times I don't even say what my opinion is because I spend so much time on my own opinions trying to prove them wrong. So when I argue something with someone, a lot of times they'll be well, have you thought about this? I'm oh no, trust me, I've been actively trying to prove this wrong. So when you counter, I've got that. And then someone might say something to me that they blow it up, and I'm awesome, sweet. Now I got to start over. But I think that's the biggest thing for people, is to question your bias. Why do you believe what you believe? Where does that come from? And how can you prove that wrong?
Right. And when you're, so just going back to what you just said, how about language? How about the language that's used?
People have called me pedantic before, but I love words. I love language. It's people people oh, you use these big words. I was that's just how I talk. Cause I love, if I find a word that's just sounds beautiful, I want to use it. I just like the word. So I'm very picky about the words that I use when I speak. To the point, because I think a lot of times we accidentally add shame and guilt to people's things while thinking we're helping them out. So you said self-sabotage, right? I love that one because it's protection.
And your post yesterday was really good about that.
Yeah, and I mean,
and I've been guilty.
So I know it. I know, and I know I know exactly what people mean. It's really just about when we say self-sabotage, it consistently comes back to morally, I'm bad. It was my fault. I'm screwing this up. But if we look at it from a protective measure, we can drop that shame and we can actually start to work on it. And that's what people don't realize. It's not I talk about radical acceptance. That's probably one of my biggest values. It's probably one of my biggest strengths and weaknesses. And that is the fact that you have to look at everything in your life and accept it. And people are oh, you're letting yourself off the hook. I'm Oh, no, you're not. Because if you're accepting it, you are looking straight down the barrel of that gun and you're saying, this is reality. This is where I'm at. I should be here. I could. No, that's all bullshit. Like the second you say I should, I could, I wish, you're not accepting because nobody cares. And that's not reality. This is where you are. And you need to accept that before you can move forward. Because like I tell people like, you know, that, oh, well, this happened and this happened. And I'm like, that's cool. That happened in the past. So you can leave it there or you can keep dragging it along with you and see how heavy that burden becomes. And that's my thing with all of it is like, that's why the language is so important. So like that radical acceptance is huge. Down to the little things, you know, one of my favorites is when people are like, oh, I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear. And the irony in that is it's usually self-critical. It's usually like, it's your fault kind of thing. And what they don't realize is that's exactly what people want to hear. Because that inner critic in their head has been telling them that over and over and over and over again. So when someone comes in and says that, they're like, oh, this is the guy. This matches up exactly with what I'm hearing. And they go work with them and they're like, wow, why do I feel worse? Why am I in a bad situation? Because this jerk, and I have the little avatar and probably 5 or 6 names in my head of exactly the guy it is. And then they just kind of fire into like, well, this is, and they're like, man, and then this person will get some results, some people, because it's like a few months and you can, you know, beat someone into submission for 3 months easy. That person's going to be way worse off in 6 months or a year. And so that's why there's things like that of like understanding how the human psyche actually works will help you to change the way you message, because you start to realize that like the things you think are helping are actually hurting. And you're like, oh, okay, I need to wind this back. It doesn't mean that I take away people's responsibility. No, it's the exact opposite. But you stop having them blame themselves and live in guilt and shame so that they can actually elevate out of that and do something.
And help build them up, right? Like, and help. And you talk about this a lot, even in the mentorship. It's like getting to a place, self-leadership.
That's it. I mean, self-leadership. It's everything.
Right. And self-leadership encapsulates, I know for me, it's like learning to trust yourself around situations.
That's hard.
It's hard. And
a lot of us don't have the reps or the practice put into show that, though. That's the problem.
It is. And as women too, though, I can tell you from personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of women will resonate, that at some point in your life, you stop listening to that voice. And when you stop listening to that voice, you stop trusting yourself. And when you stop trusting yourself, this is the kind of shit that happens. Like you get into these cycles and you kind of lose yourself in that.
But even circling back further on that, though, like a lot of us, I mean, culturally speaking, like don't know how to trust our voice because there's always been a different voice in our head. I mean, that's speaking for myself, where, you know, that those feelings of not being good enough is because of other voices that have been ruminating in my head for so long that I've had to learn how to cancel out those voices and actually find my own voice.
Well, and I think not feeling good enough is probably part of the human condition. Like, I think that's probably all of our like dream, right? Like, I mean, what is every religion and every, you know, situation, regardless of history, what have they all done? It's always about trying to release, to find this path of purity of, you know, death or enlightenment, you know, salvation, whatever your religion calls it. It's always about finally being whole, finally being good enough. And and part of that might also be the conditioning of being told that you are inherently bad. You know, I mean, part of, you know, Western religion in particular has been like, you're born of sin and therefore you must absolve yourself through a lifetime of suffering, which is kind of a weird thing.
And atonement.
Yeah, like it's, you know, whereas it's like, or it could be like born of like good, and maybe we try to go that, I don't know. And I don't think it's actually religion's fault. I think it's a misappropriation of it, but that's a whole other story. But I think like what we look at here is like this idea of that self and the lack of trust is like we say, Carmie, is like we don't have a lot of reps. But what I try to do with my clients is I try to point out the reps that they do have. Because so many people are like, I can't trust myself. And I have one client, she's amazing. And she'll be like, I just don't have the evidence. Cause I go back, I was like, you lost 100 pounds and you've kept it off for like 6 years. You won. Like you're there. You have more evidence now than you ever have. And it's like, you remind them of that, because so many people think of, and because of that, negativity bias, they only think of how they screw up. They don't think about all the good. And so my role as a coach is to often be like, hey, look how great you did this week on this thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. So if I can take someone at the beginning of a call from feeling down and crappy about their situation, and then turn that around to see the and it's not toxic positivity. It's not like you're doing great. It's more like, hey, like, yes, are some things to work on. Of course, that's why we're here. Are there also some things that you're killing? Yes. And I think when you talk about lack of inner voice and self-leadership, that's why diets are so appealing, is because you don't have to worry about leading yourself. You don't have to worry about being in control, because there's numbers, there's macros, there's calories, there's the workout. You outsource your control to a set of numbers, and then you're like, oh, but this is how I'm feeling in control. And it's like, no, you're not. You're not in control at any point. You're outsourcing that. True control is when you can just let that be and learn to internalize it. And people, I love people like make fun of the intuitive eating thing. Like, oh, if I was eating intuitively, I would eat donuts. Like, no, we wouldn't, because you don't eat donuts. Like intuition is not instinct. Intuition is the culmination of knowledge over a lifetime. And so your intuition is based upon what you've learned. And so if you've learned to eat chicken and rice all the time, I know when I go to a restaurant, like my first impulse is usually like, oh, I want to go to Chipotle and get like a double chicken bowl with rice, because at least I know that that's going to hit my, the things that I value. Right. It's not really like, my intuition is not like, ooh, I want to go get, a Whopper with cheese. It's like, occasionally maybe if I want one, but that's not my intuition. And so I think learning to trust that is important.
Yeah, you nailed that, because that actually kind of hits home for me now. It's the same thing. It's like, if I'm going to eat out and we're out and about, I'm going to try to gravitate towards something where I know it's calorically friendly, just because of circumstances. However, if I'm going out for an actual sit-down dinner and it's an occasion, then I might just eat whatever. Yeah. Right.
Like, I remember a client I worked with, and we worked together off and on for probably 10 years. When her first meeting with me was, she was like, okay, and it was macros, this is back in the day. And she was like, I'm going to, it may have been Oriole. She was living in Chicago. She was a New York person. So we knew each other from New York, knew of each other from New York. And she was in Chicago, and it was like a 5-star, like Michelin star rated restaurant. I was like, if you even think about counting macros, I will fire you as a client.
Yeah, that's
like,
a place
she's
where
like,
you
okay,
have to eat it as intended.
Yeah, I was like, you're getting the tasting menu, and you're required to report back to me exactly what this meal was like, because I want to know.
Right. Yeah, like the fine dining restaurants and all of that.
Yeah. What senses did it hit?
Yeah, like I want to know everything, because like I love food, and it's like I like good food. But I think also too is like, that's one of the things we joke about, is people like, oh, I can't eat in this way because I'm a foodie, and I'm like, you went to TGI Fridays. You're not a foodie. Like,
you got the loaded potato skins. That's not being a foodie.
Yeah.
East Side Mario.
Yeah, like just like liking to eat like really like high, like fatty, carby food. Like everyone likes that. Like
No, that's you chasing an endorphin hit.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of like always weird about like I don't really watch sports anymore. I played football in high school, but once I quit playing, I stopped watching. But I'm always weird about like Sunday football. It's like people go and they're like, oh, they're so excited for all. I'm like, I'm gonna feel like garbage after eating this. Mm-hmm. But like it's like, and I get sometimes like that's a fun thing. Like I like to go to a party and but like I don't know, and I'm also just weird. Like the idea of like sitting down and eating a bunch of buffalo chicken dip, like just does not appeal to me. Now, like some of the like some 7-layer dip or something, like some old school like 80s Super Bowl food. Okay, I could do that. But yeah, like so it's just culturally, I think it's a weird thing too of like we're so like kind of snack food obsessed. I don't really know how we got onto this thing, but like that's a weird thing.
Yeah.
But I think one of the advantages of being from like, you guys are from cultures that have kept their traditions alive, is that the food has very like deep meaning, deep tradition. And so it comes with a very different set of things than, loaded baked potato skins.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you a funny story about someone just saying, like, whenever they're working and they're having lunch and they'll warm up their food and it's obviously flavorful Indian food, whatever. So it
Mm-hmm.
smells absolutely delicious and, the aroma is in the entire room. And then the white dudes warm up theirs and it doesn't matter what it is. It's
Smells
the same.
It just smells yeah.
Like no seasoning. Tell you what, though, I used to work with these Thai women, and it was the best because they would be like, first of all, Thais are like the most capitalist people in the world. These women would be like, all right, we're gonna make a thing of, I don't know, curry tomorrow.
We make that
$10 for a small, 15 for a large. We'll bring it in, yeah. And it was like they'd make like $200 awesome. Just to like people, but it'd be like it's the best thing. You're not going to a restaurant and getting it. Like it was amazing, and they would bring it in, and it was the best day. But it was like, of course, every once in a while they'd be like, "Hey Jeb, you want it spicy?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And same with Indian. My Indian people tricked me too because they said spicy. I didn't think Indian food was that spicy, and they gave me Indian spicy one time. And I remember sitting in my car in Princeton, New Jersey, dying, but like determined to finish this meal. It was the hottest damn thing I've ever had in my life.
Your esophagus is on fire. Your nose is running.
And I like spicy, but this hit, it was like it punched me right in the mouth.
And we often interchange the word spicy and heat, and usually, I mean, spicy is just a combination of tons of spices, right?
Yeah.
But it's the heat. I don't eat heat. Like I do not like it.
I liked it, but God. this guy, and he was like, he looked at me. He's like, I gave him the nod, and he was like,
proud.
He's like, all right, here you go. And,
no,
and
Jeb,
he knew. He knew it was going to happen, but he was like, I'm teaching this white boy a lesson today.
Jeb, it was the wobble.
There you go.
The wobble.
Once I saw that, I was like, I'm in. I'm set.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm not even Indian, but I know exactly what you're doing.
You're inducted.
You're one of them now.
Yeah, no. And it is the whole cultural food thing. And, Jeb and I and Carmie, we've talked about it and how we often feel, especially when you're living in North America. So you're living between the two cultures and, we feel that we can't eat our cultural foods. We can't. And because the whole broccoli, chicken, rice has been shoved down our throats and there's certain parameters and you see it on potatoes, meat, and vegetables, right? And although our food is exactly that.
Potatoes, meat, and vegetables?
Yes. Kind of.
I mean, in Indian food, like, depending on where, maybe not meat, but like there's definitely potatoes and vegetables and everything.
Exactly. It's just prepared differently. And so
you mean with flavor?
If we can with
oops.
Well, and I feel like maybe that's now. I of course have a really warped view because I spent most of my life in New York City, and then now I'm in Charleston, which is southern, but we've got a really great food scene. So like, I see so much more acceptance towards ethnic food now than there was. I'm 47, so like in the 80s, I mean, I think ethnic food, like General Tso's chicken, like. That was considered like, about as out there as you got. Italian food was going to be manigat. Like you weren't even getting like real. It was like Italian American. But now it's like, Korean food's cool. Like, Thai food's cool. We got a Filipino restaurant here that's fucking banging. Everything's, becoming. And I think about like my meal prep this week is like I had a bunch of rotisserie chicken breasts from Costco. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a few different things. And I ended up making like a red Thai curry dish, and then like a like kind of I use like some hot honey and like peanuts and vegetables and stuff. And that's like I had like a kind of like Asian like, but I was like, I'm not gonna throw. I mean, sometimes when I'm lazy, I'll just throw some rotisserie on some rice and just put some like soy sauce on it. But I think that's like if people don't like. I mean, if you're just trying to eat just plain chicken, broccoli, and rice, like first of all, I don't really think that's very gut health forward. I mean, every bodybuilder I know that's like far in is just like absolutely their gut is wrecked. because there's not a lot of diversity in there. It's like, okay, broccoli's great, but like if that's all you're eating for vegetables, like you need some. Like I think Gab Fondaro explained it really simply to me once. She did her PhD in I think some kind of gut microbiome thing, and she was like, just that old thing of like eating a bunch of different colors, pretty good.
Do that.
Pretty good. Like if you do that, like you're probably gonna get some diversity in there and be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, again, that's just a narrative as well that we've been. Obviously, it's you see it everywhere, but really, if you just take a step back and to see that it's something that you've been telling yourself. I was telling myself, and it was really simply a matter of changing how I prepared the food. That's it.
Yeah.
The flavors.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Yeah, how we modify it based off of our current nutritional needs. Because I made. There was a whole craze this past week of the Trader Joe's adobo chicken, the Filipino adobo chicken. When I saw it, I was like, "That's trash."
Wait, it's Filipino adobo? Because I've gotten the adobo chicken, but it was like Spanish style, the old one. They've got a Filipino one.
So Trader Joe's came out with like a frozen meal where it's the Filipino. They say Filipino style, and I say that with heavy air quotes.
Okay.
Adobo chicken, and somebody reviewed it. A Filipino lady and her mom reviewed it, and as soon as they warmed it up and opened it, I saw it and I was like, mm-mm. And she's speaking in Tagalog and I fully understand it. And she basically, it translated into Tagalog was, what the fuck is this? This is not Filipino style adobo chicken. This has to be a different style. And then she straight said there's no taste. So I was like, okay, I'm making adobo chicken. And I made it. And I made it not macrofied, but just according to what I needed. So I did bone-in chicken thigh and I just ripped the skin off because that's where majority of the fat is. And I cooked it exactly as it was intended to be, with flavor and color. And that was that. And I made it work for us today during this, season that we're in. But I was just like, y'all got to stop with that. Like, if you're going to do traditional stuff, please make it traditional.
It made me think. I've got a friend of ours, and we were out. I think we might have been in Paris or Amsterdam, or whatever. And we came home, and she had made dinner ready for us. So when we got home, and she had made this Colombian dish that's like this chicken. It's basically arroz con pollo, like their version, but it's Colombian version where it's like you sear the thighs with the skin on, and then slow cook it with the rice and the peas, and it's just it was one of those things where I came home and I was like, oh my God, this is way. I was like, I love you. It's my wife's best friend. She's like our, she was like in New York. She was our COVID family. Like she would come over and keep my wife company. So she got your pod space. Yeah. I mean, we, living in 650 square feet and not leaving the house for a year is, gets tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So but I do think it's I'm from a Scottish family. We ate, organ meat stuffed in a stomach and boiled. It was not a heavy food culture. So I adopt everything. I love food. But yeah, I think having those traditions and then and sharing them. I think that's the problem too, is so many people out there are oh, they're just stuck in their oh, I grew up eating sloppy joes and meatloaf. And it's well, there is a whole world out there, and we have the internet and cookbooks. You can try other things. You might think it's weird. I mean, I remember the first time I had sushi was probably in 1995. And being this is insane. You want me to eat raw fish? What's wrong with you? And then, of course, afterwards, this is actually dope. Or raw oysters. How disgusting is I love oysters now. Disgusting if you think about it.
I love sushi. I mean, obviously from Vancouver, it is the best. But I can't do sashimi. I can't. I can do what do they call it? The little baby fish eggs.
Caviar, or
no, it's just a little. Yeah.
Anyways, that is
we have a sushi place near me that you get 2 rolls. It's this place sushi. Two. I say rolls. It's nigiri, so it's just the rice and the fish and tuna, and then they put caviar on top. It's $50. It might. I was going to say
it sounds pricey.
Yeah. So it's basically $25 a bite, and I spend it every damn time because it is so good. It's so ridiculous. Yes. I love this restaurant, Sarah. We rarely go because it's you walk in, you're there for about 20 minutes. The bill's $250, and you leave, and you're
You're like, I'm
that was
starving.
intense. Yeah. Well, no, I'm
Like,
full. Like I feel good.
Oh,
Like I
you're
get
full?
enough food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But because they'll do it like in, it comes out in waves, and there's, I love sushi. We have a place near us that does the omakase, which is, you don't order, you just sit down and they just give you your dish, each one, you eat it, rest in between, and oh God, that's the
like
best.
let it digest. Like
and it's just, it's one bite at a time, but you just like, it's so perfectly done in the way that they spend. One of the documentaries I suggest every human being watch is a Jirojin's Sushi, or Jirojin's Sushi. It's Jiro. But it's the guy who's considered the greatest sushi chef in the world, and his goal in life is just to one day create the perfect piece of sushi. And it's about and this guy's been doing this for like 70 years, and he has all these people working for him. And he's like, the goal is to create he's like, I've never done it and I never will do it, but the goal is still to try to get there. And it's just like, I mean, I love the Japanese in that, like, they're just that.
But think about that testament that he just said, even about just sushi making, and tie that into like our own journeys of like just understanding that you're never going to actually hit that goalpost, but you're still going to keep trying to find it, and you're going to keep continuing to show up and keep trying to put those reps in, practice, and get better every single day. I mean, I think we all need to approach life like that.
Yeah. Well, and the big lesson I took from it too is that like he could be rich by just automating this and doing something else, but he does well, but he could be, right? He could be like, and if he was in America, they'd be like, hey, we need to take this thing, we'll franchise it, And he's like, I don't think you understand. That's not what this pursuit is. But we get so caught up into the outcome, into like, oh, how can I maximize? How can I optimize? How can I scale? And it's like, or how can you become a master? How can you really create great art in your life? I don't know. That's my pursuit of happiness is that.
And tying it back again to nutrition and coaching, like how can you, the art of coaching, how can you be a better coach, right? It's not about like, we're just talking about scaling, like you said. It's like, if we can, and you can scale still, but I'm just saying,
but how can you nurture your current clients?
Yeah. Scaling in my mind, the definition is just the least amount of work to make the most amount of money. I
was gonna say, so many people in this industry, their goal is to get out of coaching. My goal is to get deeper into coaching.
Yes.
I want to dive so far into this that like I get lost in the beauty of it. I don't want to have a staff of people and then crunch numbers. Like that's not why I do this.
And that requires time.
Yeah, it's time, and you're not going to make as much money. And you're not going to draw in as many clients, but like, and everyone's like everyone's own morals and values are their own. Like that's, I'm not saying that I'm better than somebody. It's just that this is my interest. Some people really like making money and they're like doing business and they're good at it. And I'm like, all right, cool, do it if that makes you happy. If not, maybe reassess. But yeah, so like I think like just really, we talk about the art of coaching and mastery. It just depends on where you want to take it. Like, what do you want to get into? And like the work that we do in the mentorship is it's yes, it's about working with clients, but so much of it is about working with yourself and figuring out your role in the process and how does that affect your coaching. Because I think a lot of what coaches don't realize, they think that coaching is about them directing their clients. And it's really about that self-leadership of managing yourself to be able to provide space and hold space and let clients explore and let clients fail. That's the hardest thing to do as a coach, but you have to. And you have to. And then you have to be there to help pick them up. But if you think you're just going to wrap them in a bubble and protect them forever, well, then the second you leave, they'll fall apart. And that's
they're never going to learn how to do anything on their own if you just continue to hold their hand on everything.
And I think it's fundamentally tied to what you perceive as your worth as a coach. And if you tie that to results, here we are saying like, don't, focus on the process, not the outcome. But then wouldn't we have to apply that to ourselves as a coach? Right? Like focus on the process.
But then I think we get caught up in our own heads where it's like, oh, if I don't get this person results, then I'm not valid as a coach. I'm not a good enough coach. Where we also have to take a step back and understand like, where did we not allow the space and grace for this client to grow or to guide them and help them? And also, it's what we say, it's a two-way street, right? Did they show up to do the work also? So it's just that accountability and auditing of where did it go wrong, honor it, validate it, and say, okay, where can I shift?
Well, and the important thing too is, I think, for your clients is, like, I tell my clients, I'm like, this isn't rude, and I'm not trying to be, lack emotional, consistency here, but I tell them I don't care if they get results. Like, it does not reflect on me. It's their work. And now I do care that they, start to move in a certain direction. But if they eat a pizza, I don't care, because that doesn't reflect on me. And so that also, once they recognize that, not from a place of like, I don't care about you, but from a place of like, it's not going to affect me. So you can tell me. You don't have to hide things from me. You don't have to feel ashamed that you did this thing. You don't have to say, oh, I had a bad week, so I don't want to have a call. It's like, no, that's when you need the call. Like, that's the whole point of, I'm here for that. I'm here to help take some of the burden off of you, to help you be able to walk an easier path. I'm the Sherpa to help you carry your pack up the mountain. I'm not here to lift you up and put you on my shoulders and walk you up there, but I will help you carry the baggage.
I had to tell that to one of my clients, because she put in one of our check-ins, had a bad day, something. And I called her. I said, how come you didn't reach out to me? We could have navigated through that. Send me an SOS text message. Like, what's going on in that moment? Are you just too busy? Are you overwhelmed? Like, we could have navigated that together instead of you full sending and just having whatever it was that you were having in that moment. And we could have honored it and then learn how to navigate it in the future.
100%.
And it's a way to disrupt the pattern too. We're there for support. And so you wonder sometimes, maybe we've talked about this, touched on it, Jeb, but like the ghosting, why clients ghost. Well, if the coaching is based on tracking sheets, numbers, and exactly that, and if a client feels that they didn't do that and they're going to disappoint you, or they didn't meet your expectations as a coach. And now, as I'm saying that, it's like contradictory to meeting the client where they're at, that letting it be their journey, right? And so, clients will ghost because they're not meeting those expectations. So
also, I just know, for me, like, I've worked with so many different coaches, and like, I tell my coaches now, I'm like, just know I'm not ever going to really check in unless something's wrong. Because if I, they'll have like the sheets, and like, I had a bodybuilding coach who's awesome. We had all the things. And like, after a few months, I was like, I just can't be bothered to fill all this stuff out. I don't care enough about like if I was a competitor or something, different story. But like, I was just trying to get, bigger and learn some different philosophies on exercise. And this guy, I liked his themes on everything. But it was like filling out this Excel sheet that was just like, every workout, I was just like, I mean, it was like, dude, like, I don't care that much. I'm making progress. I'm happy. And so my current coach and one of my good friends, like, he just knows. I was like, if something's wrong with it, my shoulder's hurting. Let's get on a call. Let's figure out what's wrong with this. And then he's like, all right, do these exercises. I'm like, all right, cool. You'll hear from me again in 3 months. It's like, I mean, we talk as friends, but not as coach client. But so I'm probably going to have people that are similar to that. And then I have other people who are just very data oriented and they want to track everything. And I'm like, let's do it. Like, I will look at your HRV. I'm going to look at your blood work. I'm not a blood work expert, but like, I can, be like, all right, here's some things maybe to look into. Let me, you want to I can send you a consult with one of my friends who actually can do this really well. And so it's like, just see what they like. Some people love data and I'm not against that. I'm like, let's do it. Let's rock it. If you want to do that, like, that's fun. I'll nerd out on that all day.
Yeah. I mean, Dal and I had a conversation with that. I had a client who was going on a trip, and I said, please don't track, because it's almost kind of an anniversary trip. You're having fun. And she was like, no, I want to, because I want to keep in the habit of it, because I know if I stop, then I won't. Okay. Well, then you have that self-awareness around it. Cool. If that's what you want to do, and you're making that from a place of power, because you at this point, cool. Me as a coach.
And I'm like that too, because I always, I make fun of like all the discipline and but it's like, my ass gets up at 5:15 every morning. I work. I don't have a real job. Like, I don't have to get up in the morning. Like, but I get up. I go to jiu-jitsu. I come home. My like, I have like a very strict structure, but that's what works for me. Like I've gotten to the point now, because I hate lifting. So like I now lift like every day, but just do a little bit, just because it's easier for me to be like, I'm just going to lift for a half hour every day than try and squeeze in an hour and a half workout, 2 or 3 days a week. And so like, for me, I was better consistent. Like,
Yeah.
do I get up at 5:15 every morning? Like on weekends, maybe 6 or so, but like, because it's just easier for me to do that than it is to try and stop, start. So I get what that client's saying is like, even if they're eating like, oh, I'm going to still eat whatever, but I am going to track it. Be like, cool. Like if that's just your daily routine, your ritual per se, like then it's fine. But like you said, she had the self-awareness of like, it's not about like restricting my stuff. It's just about this is the habit that I like.
Or
to
being
keep
obsessive.
Into.
It's what I need to do for me to stay aligned in this moment. Cool. That's fucking fantastic. That's music to my ears.
Yeah.
It's understanding their thought process and where it's coming from versus telling them what to do and what is right, quote unquote, right? So
yeah, and it's where I get caught too, because like all clients be like, well, I think I want to lose weight. I'm like, yeah, great. I'm like, well, I thought we were supposed to like talk about weight loss. Like, I've never said that. I understand that weight loss is your goal. My whole thing is like, you've spent your lifetime focused on this outcome and it's just eluded you. So all we want to do for a little while is take the focus off that and start to pay attention to all the things around it, and how maybe those things are actually what's influencing your inability to find this like sustainable outcome. And then once you're in this place of safety and you have all these skills and these tools, then we go and hey, maybe we go like count macros, maybe we count calories, but now you're in a place of safety. So it's not an obsession and it works.
But that's the problem with the messaging on social media. And we get it, right? Because how much context can you have in 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds? But because these people are consuming this information where it's so cut and dry, where it's, calories in, calories out, just being a deficit. And yes, that's what it is. But what else is happening around those mechanisms that aren't allowing you to actually apply that and apply it with some type of sustainability?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's, and part of it is because in the social media landscape, in the marketing landscape, we have to promote this idea of like, this is what you're going to see in 3 months and 6 months. So you have to attack the, like just doing the real mechanistic stuff of like, just strip away a bunch of calories. We'll get the people to lose weight and then we'll work on maintenance. And the reason I developed my model was because I helped 2,000 people do that. And I can probably count on one hand the people that kept the weight off. And I'm talking, 50, 100, 200 pound weight losses all over the place. And, I get contacted by family members of people like, hey, so-and-so worked with you years ago. It was the best he's ever been. And, since then, all the weight's kind of come back and he's super depressed. And like, and I'm, I'll try and reach out, but like, there's a lot of shame that goes into that. And so my model now is like, hey, let's do all the things that we called maintenance first. Let's fix all this shit, then do the hard thing. Because again, we think of like, everyone's like, oh, macros are simple. It's like, dude, macros are a pretty high level intervention.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a simple thing. And again, I know bodybuilders that don't count macros. They eat, again, I always joke. I'm like, people are like, you can't get in good shape unless what gets measured gets managed. And I'm like, every time I watch Pumping Iron and watch Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those guys in 1980 with their phones out looking at MyFitnessPal before they eat. Oh, that's right. No, they didn't. They sat down and ate a whole chicken. And then when they got close to the competition, they just ate less potatoes. It was like they just cut their meals down and increased their cardio. And that's the other thing. Those guys were always moving, right? Yeah. You watch that movie, they're riding bikes, they're hanging on the beach. I mean, a lot of, really homoerotic beach scenes and stuff. But, it is. It's that movie. Like, you got to watch it. Have you ever watched Pumping Iron?
I love it. Okay.
You got, this is like, I watch this movie like once every 2 months. My buddies, we always talk about it. It's the 1980 Mr. Olympia with Arnold, and he's going up against Lou Ferrigno, who was the Hulk in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's super dramatized thing about bodybuilding, but it's just like, they're like all like in their little bikinis, like playing on the beach. And I mean, it's just like, and then they're talking about like all this tough guy stuff at the same time. Oh yeah.
It's the best. Got the pump going.
Oh, and like the music is super like 80s. Like, it's all, you got to watch it. It is the best. Oh my God. And at the very end, after Arnold wins, he's just like smoking a joint. Like, and he's got this shirt on that says Arnold is numero uno. There's some lines in there that I won't repeat on this because not family safe, but like it's amazing. Oh, it's one of the great pieces of American cinema.
Okay, we got some homework, Dal. We got homework.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube right now because I was flipping through YouTube watching a concert last night and I saw it on there. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. I'm gonna watch it too.
It is. It's like it's like the meathead. Like all my meathead friends, we always talk about like just watching it. Oh, did you watch Pumping Iron recently? Oh, it's so good.
We gotta get on it. We gotta become fellow meatheads.
It's classic.
Yeah. And just going back to what you said though, Jeb, like quickly here, I know, we want to respect your time, but Carmie and I, and especially me, have been in that situation where I've lost 40, 60 pounds over and over and over again. And it has never worked. There's a reason why. And this is it. It's to do it differently, and it's to just everything that I've learned through you and your mentorship and just my own experience. And it all boils back down to the nervous system regulation and really being self-aware, but with action. Self-awareness without action, doesn't really get you anywhere, right?
No, that sucks. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you took the red pill, but then you just stayed stuck in the matrix anyways.
Yeah.
What a conundrum that would be.
Yeah, it's like, now I know. I always say self-awareness is a bitch.
It is.
Because now, and that's what radical acceptance really is now right. you don't have the excuse of illusion anymore to be like, oh, I just don't know. Your ignorance is gone. Now you know. And that's where most people struggle is they know, but they're facing it and they're like, why can't I do this? And it's like, there's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot of layers behind that because again, it's also like going back to that whole self-protection thing because it's that narrative like, well, I've fucked up in the past. I failed in the past. So why even bother? Because that was a strong narrative in my head for a very long time. Like, why even try? This is just what it is for you, Carmie. And I'm like,
that's one layer
like,
too.
No.
and that's a prison. Like I've never had a food thing, but I have an addiction history. And I remember I was like, I don't think people understand. It's like, I remember when this last time I finally got sober was, I was drinking so much and I was done with it. I wanted to quit. And when I tried to quit, I was like, oh, I'm going to have seizures. And like, so I was like, this thing that is killing me, like I was bad. This thing that's killing me, if I quit, I will die. And I was like, that pissed me off so much that was actually the thing that got me started. All the other things, all the problems, all the things, it was the fact that I was so like, I was trapped and I was like, I don't want anything to hold me like that. And maybe not as dramatic because it's we talk about weight, that's a much longer play, but it's the same thing of like this thing that provides me my only source of comfort is also the thing that's providing with me all of my misery. And it's not the food, it's the using the food. Just as it's not the alcohol itself, it's the use experience of it. And trying to like escape. It's not the abusive relationship,
it's you just thinking that's what you deserve.
That's a really good way to point it.
Me. Like I didn't ever think that I was worthy of that unconditional love. But then at the end of the day, it was me. I thought that's all I deserved because it's all I grew up seeing. It's all I put myself into. And it was really hard for me to accept. Like me and my husband have come a long way because he's just like, I'm here for you. I am your safety. I'm your protection. And I was always operating in a place where I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop because that's not my norm. So that was very hard for me to accept.
And that is... If you want to boil down what trauma does to people is like, that's it. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. You don't ever get to feel calm because there's always a disaster on the horizon. And that's protective because you grow up like that. You're like, I have to be ready for anything. And so when things are calm, you're like, it's way more terrifying because at least when the shit's going down, you know what to expect. It's the devil kind of thing. I understand this. But the terrifying thing is like, when's it going to happen? The walking on eggshells and living your life like that sucks as an adult.
Yeah. I was telling Dal too, like I I operate like where I just desire peace now at this point, where my daughter, my 11-year-old daughter, and I were having a conversation about scary movies. Remember I was telling you?
Yeah.
And she was like, Mommy, I don't like scary movies. And I'm like, yeah, me neither, babe. And she's like, why is that? And I'm like, because I'm like, it inflicts this fight or flight situation inside of me where I want to run. And I said, and I've operated with those feelings of just being scared or wanting to run my whole entire life, that at this point in my life, finally I have peace and I choose peace. So I don't want to willingly put myself into a situation like that. And she's like, wow.
Right.
Oh.
I still have that weird thing of like, I do kind of want to willingly put myself in a situation. I just have to resist it.
Of course you do.
Well, I mean, to some people, cool. Just for me, I'm like, it's just too much.
No, I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm just saying it's like, there's like, I like, you know, people always talk about, my favorite thing is like confronting the most terrifying things you can possibly think of. That's like my daily fun. People talk about like people like I forget that most people don't think like this. It's like I'll be like talking about, I'll just like talking about like death or something, and they're like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, why? This is like, if you explore this, and they're like,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. I'm being weird in public. All right, I'll stop now.
Well, you could be weird in public with my husband because he's all about that. He's like,
oh really? Okay.
Talking about death, and I'm like, babe, don't talk about it. He's like, why? It's the reality, and I'm like, I understand that. I was like, but that's depressing. Like
see, I would have bent his ear more in Vegas if I'd have known that. I'd have been like, all right, let's get into it. Let's talk.
Well, you'll see him in April because he actually has his ass in a seat this time.
All right. I'll pull him aside and be like, hey, let's get weird. Like, Carmie told me you like to talk about weird shit.
Morbid.
He's like, what the fuck did she get me into?
Isn't that though the whole, like, not the whole, but a part of it is confronting our fears, and death is obviously, I mean, a touchy topic for others, but it's something that I was scared of too, and I didn't want to like address at all. I was afraid, like I didn't want to, I know it's going to happen, but nope, out of sight, out of mind. But now it's like, okay, it's going to happen. It's fine. And I deal with death a lot better than most people around me. So
yeah, I'm very strange that it just doesn't bother me, and it's people probably think I'm a sociopath, but like my grandfather died, and Sarah was like, oh, and like she's crying, and everyone's like, how's Jeb? And she's like, it's Jeb, you know him. He's like, yeah, he lived a great life. He's awesome. Dude lived to be 96. He was a fucking stud. Like, and it's just like, you know, I don't cry. It's like it's you know, it's just a weird thing. So that's why. You know, and probably because ever since I was a little kid, I've just always explored it. It's always been something I've been fascinated with. I don't know if you guys saw the new Frankenstein. It's really good, but you know, it's just kind of this theme of like, death is also kind of the greatest gift. And that sounds really weird, but like, that's what allows us to live life. So that to me is like the beauty of it, is that like, people spend their whole lives like suffering and thinking like, oh, this life, it's so hard. And then when they're on their deathbed, they're clinging desperately to hang on to it. And it's like, at that moment, all of it became worth it. Right. And it's like, but you spent all this time trying to run away from it and avoid it. And then when it's leaving, you're like, wait, I want that back.
Like I want to retry, damn it.
Yeah. So
there are no redos.
And so that's the thing, is like don't go into the end of your life with wanting a retry. Like just I always say, like, I want to ride this thing, you know, I want to leave it in a crumpled, burning mess. Like I don't want it to be like, you know, Hunter S. Thompson is great. Like I want to, like, you know, just like be crippled and stumbling over that finish line. I don't want to be like running like this. I just want it to, you know, go down. Having lived as much as I can.
I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's like, you know, it's not about, you know, it's about like being able to go out understanding that like I lived the best damn life I possibly could have. Period.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, will I be sad if I go early because of my girls? Yes. But like, will I know that I have given them everything that I've got up until this point? If tomorrow was my last day? Yeah. And I can.
I think that's the biggest.
Yeah.
If you're just like, if I live today, will I be proud of today? Tomorrow might not be here, and yesterday's. Yeah, and that's it, right? That's all. I think that's all we can do.
I was telling my sister this a while back. I had this, you know, aha moment, and I was like, if I had died 3 years ago, it would have been full regret. I would not have lived a life. Miserable. But I can say today, at least I can say, yeah, like I'm content. I'm good with where I'm at. I'm not where I want to be, but that's okay. I'm getting there. I'm making those choices now, and I'm seeing things with clarity. And if I get hit by a car tomorrow, please, to my sister, I'm like, know that I had found happiness or some sort of, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been able to say that 3, 4 years ago. Like, my life would have been a lie.
Big. That's really, really big. And I think a lot of people live in that. And that's probably why they fear death, is because they know they haven't started living yet.
I think everyone, not everyone, but most people, they're living, but not fully living, like not living a full
They don't
life,
have that quality.
It's that cheesy, go from surviving to thriving.
Yes,
but I think people think that.
Come on, Jeb, we are thriving.
I am fucking thriving.
There's a reason these cliches exist. I mean, they're true. Like but it's corny and it rhymes and it goes on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
But things that fit on a bumper sticker usually have a lot of wisdom on it. So
there you go.
I think people live with regret because they think that it has to look a certain type of way also. Like for me,
people pleasing.
For me, am I a fucking good human being? Am I showing up for the people that mean the world to me in a way that I can be happy and satisfied with? Yes. It's not about what I look like. That shit doesn't mean anything. Because honestly, all of that can go tomorrow. Somebody can throw acid on me and all of my physical features are gone. But am I still a decent human being? Yes. Am I still
Trust me, I have to look at pictures of myself when I was like young and good looking and long haired. Like
you were. You still are, Jeb.
It's tough. Sarah, like the best thing has been Sarah will like show her friends who've only known me like in the last like 5 or so years, like show pictures of like when we met, and they'll be like, "Ooh," and I'm like, I'm right here. You don't have to be like, "Hey, wow, your troll husband used to be really hot." And it's like,
oh my God. Listen, Papa's still a Rolling Stone. You're good. But I am biased. I have a tendency to gravitate towards the older men, with my husband 16 years and me senior. So
he's 16 years older?
Yes. He's about to be 57. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit, he looks super like, I thought he was like I thought maybe he was like 45 or like my age.
And I find him sexier every year. Trust me.
Damn.
I'm like salivating thinking about him.
We say this all the time. Black don't crack and Asian don't raisin.
It's true.
Oh man. Okay. Well, with that, I think this is a good place to call it. And
so let me ask you one question. Let's close it out with this, Jeb.
Yeah.
For our listeners who this is resonating with, what is something that they can start with today that's easy for them to approach or attack?
I think the easiest thing you can do is, can you start to look for signs of safety in your environment versus signs of danger? And if you can create that shift, I mean, it's a constant effort for me, but like something as simple as like, and I'll tell this quick story because it kind of was when everything hit home for me. I came home from, my dog had surgery. My dog is like my best friend. He's been through everything with me. And, he had cancer once and it was a cancer thing again. So I was real stressed, came home and I just handed my dog to my wife. I was like, I gotta go for a walk. And she's like, are you mad at me? I was like, no. I'm upset. And when I'm upset, I'll be a dick to you for no reason of your own. It's all about me. So I was like, I'm just going to go for a walk. And I went for a walk and was like, look, there's a happy little tree. There's a nice shrub. Ooh, I love that person's front door. And like, did it make everything perfect? No, but I came back and then I was able to engage with my wife in like a positive manner, how I want to show up. Because again, like I'll be shitty with her because I'm upset with myself, and that's not fair to her. Mm-hmm. So like that's, things like that. Like go out, take a walk, get your ass outside, get some sun if you don't live in, the awful northern hellscape that is Canada. Get yourself some sun, take your sunglasses off, get all the cheesy stuff, take your shoes off, walk in some grass. I know all that corny stuff, but it can do wonders for you.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so easy to take action on.
Easy. That and breath work. The breath work is the other thing that, that's the aside, because you can carry your breath with you everywhere.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Y'all heard him. All right, Jeb. So where can our listeners find you?
On Instagram, Jeb Stuart Johnston. On the interwebs, you can find me at www.foodonthemind. And then my podcast is Food on the Mind, Awakened Genius. And again, it's pretty weird and esoteric, but I try to do 2 a month if possible, but they all take me like 10, 12 hours to prepare. So it's a slog to get through. Yeah.
I am proud to be a part of the order.
yes. And we have my mentorship, which I call the Order of the Awakened Genius, because I want it to sound like a cult. Because my mission is not to my mission is to kind of change the way that we approach how we talk about and view nutrition and wellness and health in the space.
Awesome. And we'll put it all in the show notes, right, Dal?
Yes. Yeah. Right, Dal. Yeah.
Right, Dal? You're going to get that done, right, Dal? Like, let's make sure that happens.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time coming on, and this was just so informative, I think, for our audience, and it'll be really helpful. So
and thanks for the last minute, because I know I texted you like 2 days ago and I was like, wait, Saturday morning, you want to do that? Like, awesome. So thank you guys for
right now we're like,
me.
yes, please.
Well, especially
we're
like I don't know what's like this weekend is Thanksgiving, and then I'm going to Amsterdam after that. So like my December is going to end up being crazy. So it's worked out.
Well, we appreciate you carving out some time for us.
Yeah. I mean, anytime to get to talk to y'all. Come on. Like, I would have done this without even the cameras rolling.
Awesome. All right. We'll leave it there. See you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.